Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Unlikely. Joining us again is Zach Kissman, joined alongside the former Rookie of the Year of the Vora Racing Association. You may know him as the Ringmaster. And for Mike Tyson, Mr. Cold Stone. Steve, Zach, thank you guys for joining us. First off, how you guys doing?
We're doing good. Good to be back with you, man.
Hey, you kind of shocked the world on Instagram about a month ago, letting people know about your health update with the knee replacement and everything. So first and foremost, before we get into anything, how are you health-wise?
He's doing good. I'm about 13 weeks out. It really takes about a year for these things to fully heal up. So it's still a little bit tender. Just got back in the car and started driving. We're about to run the Met 400 race. So Zach's run it a couple times, but he's broke, so he hadn't finished it. So it's going to be a rough race, probably the roughest race I've ever driven. So if I can just keep my knee together, that's my brake leg. I'm just going to do the best I can. But the knee's feeling solid. I'm out of pain because it cut all that arthritis out when they put that new joint in there. So I'm in a good place, but I got some work to do.
And last time, for people that didn't watch our interview, you can go check that out, of course. But we talked about this crazy race where you guys were starting here in Las Vegas and ending up in Reno. No breaks, no bathroom breaks, none of that. I just want to know how you guys did in that race first.
Well, let me start because I broke down and then I started chasing. Go ahead, Zach.
It was actually it was an amazing race for us, the whole team, and we got a lead probably around mile marker like 100, and we just kept a good pace all the way to the finish. It was 550 miles. Took us right around 10 hours, I think, to finish. I mean, like you said, no bathroom breaks, no getting out of the car, just keep it moving and keep racing and keep everything moving to the finish.
There's always a moment after an interview where I forget to ask a question and I go, damn it, in the car. I didn't get to ask this last time, so I'll ask it and either can answer. If you do need to use the bathroom, just out of curiosity, how does this work?
So there's a system that it's a catheter.
It's a roll-on catheter.
It's a roll-on catheter,
Okay.
and there's a tube that runs down your leg and out the bottom of the car, and you know, if it happens, it happens.
You can't stop to win this race. And I also want to explain to people too, again, when we're talking about racing from Las Vegas to get to Reno, we're talking about going through the desert, correct? We're talking about there is no exact path. Whatever method you feel will get you to first place is how that will work. And I'm curious because from my understanding, Steve, I know being a part of the show that was on A&E, you kind of did it for the show, fell in love with it. For you, obviously there's a million different types of racing. What made you like fall in love with it to do this and chase this?
So my background is when I was really young, I used to do sprint cars. And then got a little older, got into motocross, and then eventually I got into off-road. And what I really like is I like motocross because of just technical jumps, just all that kind of stuff. And then as you get older, you kind of need a cage. And so I went that route, and always been, four wheels has always been kind of my specialty. Two wheels I was all right, four wheels is really where I shine.
Out of curiosity, this will be one of the 2 days in Las Vegas that it's actually going to be raining. So in terms of you guys being out there in the desert, is it muddy so that's going to less traction with the wheels, or does the rain stop the dust so now you guys have better visibility? How does this work?
Makes it less dusty. So yeah, it makes it, the dirt, yeah, just makes it less dusty, and it will kind of change where you get more traction. Makes it a little more tacky, and you get more traction, and it makes it way more racy, way more fun.
And I don't think anybody's a fan of driving in the dust. I'm certainly not. It's not a strong point for me. When you can't see where you're going, a lot of people are trusting that GPS line. His father is my co-driver, and so, man, he's telling me to stay in it, at the road straight, and man, not so much. So yeah, if we get a little rain, knock that dust down, even get a crosswind or something like that to help us out, I'd dig it.
Is it true in your racing career that you've had some rivals in some of these races, and one of them was like a 14-year-old girl?
Yeah,
true?
She's actually going to be my backup driver. Her name's Taryn McCullough. She's a great racer in her own right. If I have to tap out or if I need her to take a lap because I need to rest my wheel, then she'll step in and drive for me. But absolutely, she's still around, and she'll be competing in Pro Turbo this year.
I'm assuming it's a combination of, does this fulfill for you not only fun, but kind of that competitive spirit bug?
Man, absolutely, man. I need something to be competitive at. And when when I hooked up with the Kissmans, filming that show, and they said, hey, man, you want to race? And then, so I was all about it. And then now, you run a few races, and then you kind of start like, it just hooks you. There's no two ways about it, and I need something to be competitive at, and off-road racing is it.
How, working with Steve and seeing him grow as a racer, like, can you just talk to me about that experience? Was there like trepidation of telling him like, hey, you're not doing this shit right, or like anything like that? Or was it with kid gloves, or like what was the situation, honestly?
Yeah, just kind of try to teach, coach. So when he first got in a car, one thing that I really kind of got on him about was, you're being too jerky in the corners and just really trying to smooth his driving style out. And over the last couple of years, we've gotten it to where he's super smooth. He's getting into the more technical kind of stuff now. This is one of the most technical races, just with the way the bumps are, and some of these holes are going to be 6, 7, 8 feet deep, and it's just kind of teaching him, how to navigate that stuff. And then he always, picks up on what I'm telling him and tries different things. And we've had some test days, and he's had to push the car to its limit to know where that limit is.
Cars, yeah.
To know where that limit is.
But Zach's in a position of the grizzled vet. Normally in the pro wrestling business, it's an older guy who takes a younger guy, under his wing and shows him ropes. Well, Zach's a young guy, but he's the veteran of the team as far as experience. So, yeah, he's taken me under his learning wing, and when he can coach me up and tell me what's up, or hey, maybe try this line, or we'll do that. But obviously, for the most part, I'm self-taught. But anytime I can extract some information from Zach as far as getting faster, I take it, because that's the same thing with the wrestling guys. If they're going to give you tips, and sometimes he's speaking at a level that I'm not ready to understand. So now that's going into my third year, I can really see myself setting up 2 turns at one time now, rather than not even knowing how to set up the first turn. And that's due in large part to Zach.
And from my understanding, you've moved up from the last time that we've talked. So you guys, obviously GFI Nevada, the racing team, but you guys will be competing against each other in the race this weekend at the Mint 400, correct?
Absolutely. And that was the last race, but I broke in Vegas to Reno. We were running in the same class.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So, but this season we'll both be running Pro NA, and, we're both running Kawasaki's, race for the same team. So, Zach is a way better driver than me. And, I'll state that as a fact, because it's true. As long as I can get on the podium, I'm happy. I'm not going to knock Zach off. He could break, but that's not a win for me. So I want Zach to be on the podium. I want him to stay intact. I don't want him breaking down. And whatever I can get, I will. If I don't get on the podium, I'm still happy to be racing and flying the colors.
Zach, we need to get a little spicy. Now that you guys are going to technically be racing against each other, you want to talk shit? The floor is yours.
Zach knows what's up.
Yeah, I mean, it's we don't know where we're going to be starting yet. Tomorrow's qualifying, and if he qualifies better than me and he's in front of me, I mean, sometimes it's nice coming from the back because you know where everyone's at, and I'll know it's Steve, but I won't treat him any different. I mean, if he deserves a bump, he deserves a bump, but I'm not going to put either one of us in a bad situation,
Yeah, Zach knows what's up, too.
End of the day, I want Kawasaki 1-2. I'll give him a little more patience than a car that's a different color, but a little bit.
I'm not going to get in front of Zach, because we're going to qualify. And this is the thing. I've never been on a short course. We're going to qualify on a short course. And this is my first year at Pro NA, so I'll be qualifying from henceforward. So that'll be my first qualifying tomorrow as we speak. And I've never been on a short course. And my left leg's a little bit weak. That's my brake leg. So I'm asking Zach, hey, man, how should I attack this thing? So it's going to be real interesting. Zach qualifies every race, as I will be this year. But I got my work cut out for him. And I ain't going to outrun this guy. But if it'll give me a little bit of what's up as far as, who I'm dealing with out there as far as the order goes. I'm used to starting from the back, and I usually charge through as many people as I can. And I knock down a lot of people, but I'm not at Zach's level.
You said he was a grizzled vet. Way to be mature. Just strictly business, like the quarterback. I like the way you handled that. Steve, I want to ask you, because obviously you're going to be racing this weekend. You're also the Grand Marshal here at the Mint 400. Talk to me about how in Reno, everyone kind of knows who you are. It's quiet where you live. Everybody knows what's going on. When you're in public in these situations, like, I'm curious, if you're around a bar, do people just expect you that, hey, you have to drink every beer? Or how does that go now?
No, they don't expect me to drink every beer, but because of my, beer drinking, with professional wrestling and all that, that's a big part of my life. So, yeah, I'm no stranger to a bar. I do get recognized a lot here in Vegas, but we played in Vegas for years and years and years, and I've been on TV for a while. Me and a buddy of mine went out to eat a steak last night, and we caught a lot of attention. So it's always fun to get recognized when you've been gone from the sport for so long. But, it's just another day at the office.
And talking about Vegas, in the intro, I did call you Mr. Cold Stone because Mike Tyson
Yeah.
called you that. Out of curiosity, why has there never been a partnership with Cold Stone? Have they reached out? It just seems like the easiest thing in the world to do. Cold Stone, Stone Cold, let's go. A flavor of ice cream, a visit, a commercial.
100 years ago, we pitched a beer company, and because I was drinking all those beers, and I'd rotate them out because I didn't want to give anybody too much love because we weren't getting nothing from it. And we put a sales pitch on somebody, but I was so over the top back then and so out on a limb. I was too aggressive and too edgy for anybody to really latch hold of. And probably the same thing with that ice cream factory or whatever. But we're doing fine. But you brought that Mint 400 and being the Grand Marshal. It's really cool to be invited to be a part of that just because of my wrestling career. And they knew that I was off-road racing with GFI, and just be a part of this race has been going on for a long time, and just be a part of history. It was fun to lead that parade down the main drag.
And Zach, as you lead this team, I'm kind of curious, what are your ambitions when it comes to racing in general? I'm very ignorant in this question and asking, like, how does this go? Is the dream to be an F1? Does it mean NASCAR? Is it just strictly off-road? Like, how does this go for you in the perfect world?
So as of right now, I'm in the Pro NA class. There's 2 other classes that have some quicker cars. And eventually, maybe I'll make it into one of those classes and race in there. But sky's the limit. I mean, if it goes from dirt to some sort of street, F1, NASCAR, I mean, I'm totally open for any of that. If it has a wheel, that's where my heart is. Really just want to be out racing, competing, and I'm willing to kind of go anywhere, to go racing, to be competitive.
Steve, when's the last time you were nervous?
I'm so nervous right now I can't talk.
I didn't know. It's your first pro race. I'm not sure, so I'm asking.
Tomorrow I'm going to qualify. I'm not going to be nervous for that because it is what it is. I'm just going to go do it. The Mint 400 will be the next day. I don't get nervous anymore for racing. I anticipate them. I really can't tell you when the last time I was nervous. Probably, a year ago when I was, kind of getting into the racing scene. But these days, nothing really makes me nervous.
Do competitors, rivals, because you told me that a lot of competitors are younger. Do anybody try to get in your head? I don't think it's fathomable. Just standing this close, I don't suggest doing that.
No,
but nobody's talking shit to you?
No, hell no. But when I first got in, when you see everybody walking around in their race suits, and I just had a generic race suit on, so like, hey man, these guys must be pretty good. And you can be intimidated because it's your first endeavor into that new world. But, now I have my fancy Dan race suit, and, Zach's a great driver, and he's going to go out and do what he does, and I go out and do what I do, and I let my driving on the track speak for me and try to do the best I can. But I don't get nervous, and nobody intimidates me.
Nobody's saying any junk. I'm curious, and I asked you about kind of training and teaching. Steve, has there been moments where have you, for lack of a better term, have you gotten in his ass to be like, no, stop doing this? Or has the team had to tell him?
I think I've kind of done some soft, hey, some driving tips here and there. But I mean, for the most part, I give him a tip. He listens and he really thinks about it or analyzes, how he's doing things or how he's navigating the track. And that's why I like working with him, because he can actually take something and work on it and develop it and perfect something. He's always out there training in the desert in one of his play cars, just trying to be better. And that's, when someone else is pushing you, it's rewarding for you too, because the more he pushes himself, he's going to be on me one day. I mean, I don't think he's very humble, saying that he's not going to go out there and try to, I'm going to just blow him out of the water, but he's not too far behind. I mean, he's right there. So, I mean, there's going to be a day where we're knocking doors, hitting bumpers, and that's just racing. So it's really rewarding to see someone to come through their career and progress, and someone who was year ago, 2 years ago, he wouldn't have been able to be there. And now he's there. He's a competitor.
I've asked this before, but I need to ask it again because I find it so fascinating. This race isn't going to be as taxing or time-consuming as driving 10 hours from Vegas to Reno. But when it comes to training, like, how do you replicate this stuff when there is no course? You just can't take a lap. What does it look like?
This one is way worse than Vegas to Reno. So this one is so Vegas to Reno was point to point, 550 miles. You get a lot, like you'll get on a lake bed and you'll get a break, or you'll have these long straights, and you only see the course one time, so it doesn't get as rough. Where this course, the course is already the roughest track that we probably run all year. Some of these holes are massive, and one thing that's really different here is you come to a section and it'll split off into 4 or 5 different lanes. And every lane is just a bunch of ruts and bumps.
It's fair game. You got to pick it.
You got to pick it, and you got to figure out what's smooth and how to get through it. Where a lot of these other courses are like that Vegas to Reno, it's more single track and everyone's kind of running the same thing. So this one is way more technical, way more rough, and you're doing the same course. It's 400 miles. So we'll do 4 laps, and roughly each one's 100 miles.
And each lap gets rutted in more and more and more, and rocks get kicked out. And all of a sudden, man, if you're in somebody's dust and you don't see a rock, you're going to take a tire out, it can take your entire car out. So this race is a lot rougher than the Vegas to Reno.
And it changes too. So what you see lap 1 is not going to be the same track you see at lap 3 or 4. The track's constantly changing, so you had a good line in the beginning of the day, and at the end of the day, that line is garbage, and you got to find something else. So it's super, super technical.
And for those that are watching, because this is going to come out tomorrow, so you have plenty of races to watch, you can check it out on themint400.com. Steve, before I ask you if we can talk a little bit of wrestling, I'd be remiss, because I have you here. You have 2 solid cats. Excuse me. 2 solid-ass cats. How are they doing?
Man, they're doing great. I said goodbye to them right before I left. Yeah, give them a couple rubs, get some good luck. I was leading the parade, and Zach was right behind me, and there was a guy on the sidewalk that said Macho and Poncho, and he flipped around and said 2 solid-ass cats. So those cats are getting famous all over the world, and I couldn't be more proud of them.
If you Grand Marshal again, they need to get their own float.
Yeah, might have to. Yeah, put a couple hay bales on it so they feel at home, and we'll be good to go.
And I promise I'm not trying to be your agent in this conversation. I talked about Cold Stone. How has Animal Planet not reached out to get a show, a reality show, a documentary? You got some good stuff. People love it.
Yeah, just bring the documentary and film me and Zach racing. We'll leave the cats at home. They don't need to be in all this hassle of show business.
You don't want them to get a big push?
I'm pushing them. I'm booking that territory over there at the barn now. Come on now. I got it going over there at the Broken Skull Ranch.
Yeah, tune into the IG.
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, can we talk a little wrestling?
Yeah.
So, do you know what happened over the weekend
No.
with John Cena?
No, I seen him turn heel.
What'd you think?
Yeah. Well, sooner or later, it's got to happen. It finally happened. So I thought it was pretty cool.
You thought like it needed to happen?
No, I didn't think it needed to happen. I wonder, did he turn heel or is he going to turn more babyface? Because, I liked what he did, So it'll be interesting to see what they follow that up with. But, it's a road to WrestleMania and they're ramping things up. And, John's done so many great things, away from wrestling, visiting kids and stuff like that. Then who would ever see that coming? And, the time was when they did it, and it seemed like it was received with a lot of acclaim and attention. I owe everybody
That
a beer.
is the WWE telling me to shut the fuck up, talking about WrestleMania.
Anytime a phone goes off, and I didn't turn my phone off, so I owe everybody a beer. That's the rules.
There it is.
No, I thought the heel turn was interesting. We'll see how it goes. And John's a great guy and is a smart guy, so I'm looking forward to seeing how it will shake out.
Last time we talked, I did ask you, because Cody was very open, had a lot of words, wanted you to be around and see where they're at. I'm very respectful towards it. And you are very close to Las Vegas, living in Reno, but you just had the knee replacement. And like you said, you're going through some things. Do you foresee yourself being around Vegas, let's say Father's Day, Easter weekend in April?
Well, I have some appearances. I will be in town. So, I haven't talked with WWE or anything like that, but, I'll be around.
Got you. And I want to close out with this too, because when it comes to wrestling, it was the one thing I didn't get to ask you that in the car. I was very upset with myself. CM Punk had mentioned that when he returned to the WWE, your face on the trucks was one of the first things that he saw. and that he texted you. What's the relationship with Punk?
Oh, me and Punk are friends from way back. There was a picture back from, probably in my heyday. And, he's a lot younger than I am. And we got a picture there together, and he's just a young kid. And so I think, he was a Stone Cold fan back in the day. And I'm a CM Punk fan. I'm a fan of his work and his promos. Jesus Christ, he can light somebody up. So, we don't talk a whole lot. We'll send each other a text every now and then. But we're probably really, really good friends that don't talk a whole lot and have a lot of mutual respect for each other.
As soon as you see each other, it doesn't matter.
I enjoy what he does.
And I know that you gave him the stunner once at a house show that wasn't documented, and it's a damn shame. And I guess this will be my final question. If I had to ask you, and I apologize because I know everyone wants to ask you this, when it comes to a dream match, if you could have one more moment, would it be Punk?
Oh man, there's so many potential dream matches. I'd have to draw a blank stare and think for 5 minutes. But yeah, would he be on the list? Of course.
There it is. I'm getting reminiscent of the WWE 2K promo that you guys had. As always, thank you guys for the time. And before we leave, any final words for either one of you?
No, I'm looking forward to, thanks for coming out and talking to us again. I'm looking forward to running the Mint 400 with Zach. He's going to give him hell. He's one of the best drivers out there. He won't tell you that, but I will. And if he can just keep his buggy together, and if I can keep my buggy together and not crash, I want to finish the race. I'd like to see Zach on the podium in the one spot.
I want to see us 1-2, so that's where I'm at with it. And something super cool, you guys can actually ride along in the car. We have Starstream internet, so you guys can actually go onto the website and you guys can watch everything that we're doing and see how our race is going. And it's actually a really cool feature that we've brought onto the team and the cars and everything, so you guys can hop in there with us.
It's amazing. And for everyone in Vegas, come out, the Mint 400. This is Unlikely. Steve, Zach, thank you guys for the time.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.